Welcome to the 2013 World Fly Fishing Championships from Mosjøen in central Norway. 3 small communities have come together to host this prestigious event on their crystal clear rivers and lakes, which are surrounded by magnificent mountain scenery. In a region isolated from the rest of Norway by the terrain, the sunsport landscape is a perfect backdrop for the graceful art of fly fishing. Run by the International Federation of Sports Fly Fishing, more commonly referred to as FIPSMOOSH, the championships attract anglers from all corners of the globe, and the 125 anglers will be representing 27 different nations in this year's event. For the first time this year we welcome a team from Outer Mongolia. The event headquarters are found at the Fruhagens Hotel in the centre of Mosjøen. This is the most important town in the Helgeland district. Many of the anglers are regular competitors at this event, others are here for the first time. Old friendships are being renewed and new bonds forged in a true melting pot of nations and language. While the competition is taken very seriously for 3 days, outside of the fishing there is a free exchange of ideas, jokes and stories. As one competitor commented, "It doesn't matter if we speak different languages, we all know the language of fishing." Many anglers arrive for practice in the weeks and days before the event. Some hire their own transport, others rely on the buses provided by the organisers. By the time the official practice day arrives, tactics have been decided, the tackle checked and rechecked, and the fly selected. Sector 1, Vefsna. The section runs from Skogstad to just upstream of the Laxforsen waterfalls. Wide and deep with strong currents, this part of the river will be fished from the east bank. Some adventurous wading will be necessary to reach the deeper parts of the river where many trout will lie. All 4 eligible species may be caught in this sector. Sector 2, Austre-Vefsna or East Vefsna. This sector runs from a narrow gorge upstream of the community of Trofors into the town centre at the confluence of the Vefsna. The lower sections are believed to provide a good chance of larger catches of predominantly brown trout. Sector 3, Fiplingdalselva. The Fiplingdalselva river runs from Stroforsen waterfall into Lake Nordilskormeira. It is smaller and of more intimate water, about an hour from Mosjøen. Sector 4, Vetnet. This long lake has been divided into 2 for the competition. One half was used earlier in the week for practice, the other half will be fished in the competition. Fishing will be from boats, 2 anglers in each boat with a local controller doing the rowing. This is a very clear natural lake with a good stock of wild brown trout. Sector 5, Svartvatnet. A smaller and almost circular lake, this section is expected to be the most difficult. Anglers drawing a beat here in the first 2 sessions are expected to gain a big advantage. Brown trout are the target species. The format of the competition. This is both a team and individual competition. National teams each comprise of 5 individual anglers. The match takes place over 3 days, and each angler fishes a 3-hour session on each of 5 different venues. The fishing will be done with fly tackle, and only artificial flies may be used. All hooks must be barbless, and all fish must be safely returned to the water after measuring. Every angler will be allocated a stretch of water, known as a beat, to fish. One of the lakes will be fished in a similar way from the bank, but the other will be fished from drifting boats rowed by the local controller. The anglers are drawn into groups, and each group is assigned a particular venue for each session. The draw for the individual beats takes place on the buses on the way to each venue, but it is kept a secret until they reach the river or the lake. The scoring is based on the length of eligible fish caught. Only brown trout, sea trout, grayling and Arctic char will count, and these fish must measure 18 centimetres or more to score points. Each legal fish is worth 100 points, plus 20 points per centimetre, so a 20 centimetre fish would be worth 500 points. Session 1, Sector 1, the Vefsna. The large river fished well in the first session, with most anglers catching fish. Italy's Andrea Adriano won easily with 15 fish. Sector 2, Auster Vefsna. This sector got off to a slow start, and it was only as the temperature rose that a few insects started to hatch, and the fish began to feed. Last year's runner-up, the Lario Santi Amantini of Italy, caught 4 fish, and meanwhile Australian's Jonathan Stagg on the downstream end of the section took 7 fish. Lobos Koza of the Czech Republic carefully worked his way across the river, fishing with deep nymphs. His persistence was rewarded with 6 legal fish and a place in the top 3 anglers. All of his fish were brown trout, which were carefully measured and returned to the water. Still further upstream, England's youngest angler, Scott Nellings, was also fishing with nymphs. Scott worked through the nearside riffles and channels, and after a frustrating and fishless 90 minutes of exploring the river, the young angler justified his selection as he found a pocket of water holding a good number of fish, and he finished with 8 to lead the sector in number of fish caught. Leaving it late, Luis Antunes of Chile landed a good fish in the last 30 seconds of the match to leapfrog over the pack into 6th place.
Yeah, it was pretty tough first thing. Once the sun got out, the water warmed up a touch, and I think the fish came on a bit. There was a few fly life came off, and caught a fair few in the end. Yeah.
And you ended up with 9 fish?
I did, yes. First one didn't come until about 10:45, so I was a bit nervous when that first one hit the net. It was a bit of a sigh of relief, and from there in on, it was just one after the other. So yeah, it was a good morning.
Yes, it was a disappointing time. We started really well in the beginning. I catch 1 fish, but it was too small. And after 10 minutes, I get one really big, broke the tip, and it go away. Then it was totally out of fish.
Sector 3, Fippling del Selva, failed to live up to its early promise as anglers struggled. Clear low water made fish scarce, and only 8 anglers measured fish. Julian Lorquet won the section, with France and Italy also scoring well. Sector 4, Vetnet. Slow fishing saw just 2 boats dominate. The anglers from Poland, Norway, France and Australia benefited. Otherwise only a few small fish were caught. Sector 5, Svartvatnet. The Black Lake produced fish for a number of anglers. Thomas Adam of the Czech Republic managed 7 of them. John Horsey of England drew a feature-filled swim and managed to catch 3 fish, losing some others. Results of Session 1. In Sector 1, Adrovino of Italy. Sector 2, Nellins of England. Sector 3, Lorquet of Belgium. Sector 4, joint winners Delcor of France and Golofit of Poland. Sector 5, Adam of Czechoslovakia. Surrounded by snow-capped mountains and forested hills, the town of Mershon, headquarters for the 2013 World Fly Fishing Championships, was once a sleepy farming village. Then, in the 1800s, rich English salmon anglers arrived and bought up the fishing rights. Anxious to make a return on their investments, these so-called salmon lords opened a sawmill and lumber yards. This resulted in a Klondike Gold Rush-style growth of the town, as people flocked into work for much higher wages than could be found elsewhere in the region. Much quieter now, the town relies on a large aluminium processing plant, farming and of course tourism for its income. Sitting at the mouth of the Vefsna River, the town lies 100 kilometres south of the Arctic Circle and 400 kilometres north of Trondheim, but despite its northern position, the warm Gulf Stream current ensures a gentle climate. The Vefsna River was famous for its salmon until the 1970s, when the parasitic Gyrodactylis salaris, or salmon fluke, devastated the stocks. The river below Laxforsen waterfall has been closed for angling, and the water will be treated to kill the parasite. It will reopen for fishing again in 2017. The whole area is one of outstanding natural beauty and abundance. Tourists keen on fishing, walking and climbing arrive with the summer sun to enjoy the rural surroundings and long summer days. Upstream from Mershon, past the impressive tumble of the Laxforsen waterfall, we reach the confluence of the rivers Vefsna and Austervefsna. With only 800 inhabitants, this pretty village lies within the Lomsdal-Visten National Park, which is known for its wildlife and over 2,000 fishing lakes. The third location that supports the fly fishing championships is Hatfjelldal. This farming community is famous for its Sami boarding school, founded in 1718. The school teaches the children of these indigenous travelling families from both Norway and Sweden from the ages of 6 years old. There's also a thriving board-making industry, supplying building material for export. In winter, cross-country skiers use the area as a base for treks into Sweden. Session 2, Sector 1. Another good session on the lower river, with only 4 anglers blanking. Large fish featured, with a grayling of 48 centimetres recorded. Derrin Olsen of the USA won the section, and Valerio Santiamantini of Italy was in second place. France also scored well. On Sector 2, the fishing was not as productive as during the morning session. However, 16 anglers caught fish larger than the size limit. Once again, anglers had to search every inch of their beats to find fish. Those at the bottom end of the section, on the favoured high-numbered beats, were often chest deep for the whole of the 3-hour session. Wading so deep brings problems with line control as well as with balance. Fish were being caught here, but the average size was smaller than in the morning session. Making the most of a large island on his beat was Luca Papandera of Italy. Having fished the water on the near side of the island, he crossed and took a fish from a small slot reached from the far bank. Although a successful tactic, this then involved some frantic wading to return to the controller as fast as possible without harming the fish and to avoid losing fishing time. At the upstream end of the river, searching every inch means crossing some very deep channels with some very fast flows. This is pretty tricky wading, and Brian Capsay of the United States took a tumble and a short float trip. Thankfully, he quickly regained his footing and his composure to record a fish almost immediately afterwards. He ended up with 3 fish for 6th place in the section. By the end of the session, Luca was able to add a further 5 fish to the one we saw, and ended up as clear winner of the section. South Africa's Daniel Factor came second, and Julian De La Nias of France showed consistency in recording a 3rd place to add to his first round 2nd place. and these catches ensured him a place near the top of the leaderboard. Sector 3, Fippling Delselva. The anglers drawn on this section were rightly nervous following the difficult morning session. This short river is magnificent, smaller than the Vefsna, but full of features, with braids, riffles and large boulders, providing many opportunities for trout to lie. However, there are beats that are featureless and have bottoms of flat sand. The water is crystal clear, and this, combined with calm and sunny conditions, made angling difficult. Unbelievably, in the afternoon the angling was even more difficult than it had been in the morning. Just 3 anglers caught 4 fish between them. Of these, Martin Droz of the Czech Republic took 2 to win the sector. On Sector 5, Adriano Adravino of Italy led the field as few fish were caught. The Czech Republic also had fish, and the team competition remains wide open.
Stop fishing! Contest is over.
Results of Session 2. Sector 1, Olsen of the USA. Sector 2, Papandrea of Italy. Sector 3, Drosh of the Czech Republic. Sector 4, Adam of the Czech Republic. Sector 5, Adravino of Italy. Session 3, Sector 1, the Vefsna. Once again, the beats on the downstream end of the lower sector proved to be the best draws. The competitors still had to wade up to their armpits to find good holding areas, and several took the conscious decision to wade deeper than the top of their waders in order to find the fish. Comfort taking second place to team commitment. Fourth place Julian De La Nias of France was able to attract the attention of one measurable fish, thus avoiding a disappointing 25 points. England's Simon Robinson was delighted with his catch, the best one of two measurable fish in this session. Italian star Luca Papandera was clearly switched on to the river, following his win in Section 2 on the Vefsna, with 3 good fish in this session. He's seen here landing one of them. Another Italian, this time fishing for a different country as part of Team Sweden, had less luck. Despite putting in 3 hard hours of solid effort, he did not trouble the controller. The largest of Papandera's fish was this beautiful grayling of 47 centimetres. In other circumstances, in such beautiful surroundings, home team angler Erland Viveled Nielsen would have been happy just to be fishing, but he was ecstatic with a catch of 5 fish to finish in second place behind Finnish angler Jarkko Suominen. Section 2, Vefsna. Edgardo Dona of Italy and Martin Dross went head-to-head on this section, Dona edging ahead by 6 fish to 5 to win the section and keep both men in the medal hunt. Sector 3, Fippling Salva. Just 3 anglers recorded fish, as the same beats produced again while the others remained barren. Nieminen of Finland won the sector, while the top 3 teams all scored maximum points.
Not so bad. In the river we caught some good fish. We had a good on Vefsna. On Östervefsna we also caught 1 fish, so that was good for us. But in the lake fishing today we had blanks, and also in Fippling so that was not that we hope, but maybe the next sessions for us.
Sector 4, Vetnet. With a strong breeze blowing and bright sunshine, this sector was again going to be difficult. Boat number 7 contained João Azevedo of Portugal, who was hoping for a fish to maintain his team's surprisingly strong start. Sadly, it did not materialise. In boat number 2, Bertrand Jacquemin was looking to catch just 1 fish to keep his place in the top 10, and his boat partner Thorborn Eriksson of Sweden was also in need of a fish. However, it was the Frenchman who managed to catch a fish of exactly 18 centimetres, the minimum legal size. In the rest of the lake, several other legal fish were caught. Norwegian Erik Ikra in boat 11 struggled, along with most competitors. Top rod went to Antonin Peszek, who caught 4 fish in boat number 8. Anglers abandoned the larger fish in deep water and went in search of smaller catches and fished alongside the margins using small dry flies and fine leaders. Of course, fishing tight to the banks was not always possible. Finally, the match was over and the boats returned to the shore, some with tales of lost fish, others with fish that didn't reach the mark. Only the few anglers with fish were content with their day's work. Sector 5, Svartvatnet. Only 6 anglers caught fish, with Jonathan Stagg of Australia leading the way. Close behind, Valerio Santi Amantini kept on the pressure for the individual and team titles. Guillepin of France was a close third.
Today did not go well at all. I fished the lake from the boat and shared the boat with a Scotsman named Mike. Neither of us found a fish. Mike did catch 1 small fish that didn't measure, but it was very, very tough. No wind, a little bit too bright for good brown trout fishing, and didn't treat us very well.
Results of Session 3. In Sector 1, Suominen of Finland. Sector 2, Dona of Italy. Sector 3, Nieminen of Finland. Sector 4, Peszek of the Czech Republic. And Sector 5, Stagg of Australia.
I'm here on the banks of the Vefsna, which is the upstream tributary of the Vefsna River. This area is Sector 2 in the competition. A number of the competitors have said during the course of this few days that these rivers appear to be barren and sterile. Nothing could be further from the truth. They may be used to lowland rivers which have a lot of weed and a lot of greenery is visible. Here in these mountain rivers there are insects that thrive in stony conditions. They live under the stones. They're not visible to the naked eye, so what I'm going to do is lift up a few stones and make them visible. And we'll start here, lift a few stones and see what we can find.
The first insect we are looking at is a caseless caddis or sedge. These large insects are found under the stones and are a first-class trout food. They swim badly and are often carried along by the current. To represent them we use a long shank hook. The key points are the shape of the body, colour and movement. The second fly has longer rubber legs to give more movement in fast water. It retains the general colour, size and outline of the first fly, but as it is going to be fished in faster water, it requires less detail. The top side of the first fly shows how the fly tire has used different materials to give segmentation to the body. The second insect, one of the smaller mayflies, often called olives, is harder to represent due to its natural size. This fly has long tails and a similar profile to the natural, and while the colour looks too light when dry, the fur that has been used will darken in the water to match the colour of the natural. Once hatched, these insects are often found on the surface where the trout feed on them avidly. This small yellow stonefly has escaped to mate and lay eggs. The 4 flies shown here represent the sedges and stoneflies that can be found in this region. The yellow fly at the bottom, tied with feathers that float very well, would be a good choice to represent the stonefly we just saw. Most teams have their own fly tire, and nearly every top competitive angler is also a competent producer of their own flies. Here the Czech tire produces a nymph similar to the ones we showed earlier, but with a red tag, which does nothing to imitate anything specific, but acts as an attractor to the fish. Session 4, Sector 1 Vefsna. All eyes were on Martin Dross. A good placing here would cement the Czech Republic's lead. Not only that, but he was another angler firmly in the hunt for a medal spot. Despite him getting a reasonable draw, the river failed to produce any good numbers of fish, and only 3 anglers managed more than 1 fish. Martin Dross did get that vital fish, and has 8th spot overall. After a week of mixed results, the home team, Norway, were hoping for a better day, and Thoralf Thorstensen waded deep and long in the hunt for a legal catch. A lot of Norwegian hopes rested on this section, as a bad result here would almost certainly mean the end of a medal chance. Team captain Tor Grote was leaving nothing to chance, and joined his angler on the bridge above the riverbank.
På nedsida av stein, og så går du ut til grunnpartiet, og så ferdig med de skikkelig lange, gode svinga.
Sebastian Delcor of France won the section, with Australia second, and Romania Mogaluca finishing in third.
Ja! Hold den! Ja, ja.
It's important also for him to get new inspiration from the side, and it's also very important to change flies, different size of flies, so the fish can see something else.
Sector 2, Vefsna. With things so tight at the top of the leaderboard, the question was, could the Czech Republic regain top spot from the French? Patiently waiting for the start of the match, Thomas Adam was drawn on beat 23, on the downstream end from where the sector was won in the first session. As he waited expectantly for the start, he must have hoped to add another first place to his 2 previous wins. This is one of the best looking stretches of river and holds good numbers of fish. Thomas managed to catch 5 of them, up to 41 centimetres in length. Meanwhile, there were two nations pushing for third place. For England or Finland to win bronze, they required good all-round performances in this session. England captain John Horsey, drawn on beat 8, was already in the top 20 individuals and needed a good placing here to have an outside chance of an individual medal. After an early fish, things slowed down and the morning tactics stopped working. But anglers at this level had more than one string to their bows. Sacrificing fishing time in order to effect a complete change soon paid off, and a second good fish kept Horsey in the hunt.
Thank you. Wonderful. There you said there was one. Let's hope there's another one.
So you change the line and then...
Change the line, change the fly, change the method, and got a fish.
The Finnish angler, Saku Nieminen, was well placed in the individual standings before this session, and was drawn on the next upstream beat. He fished every bit as hard as the other anglers, but his only reward was a single rise to his fly. The disappointment showed as he left the river. Adam won the sector with Team USA's Josh Graffam in second place, and Horsey was third.
Really hard beat. I don't know. I have one rising to the dry fly, but that was all. Not good.
Sector 3, Vippling-Dalselva. Another gruelling session here. 21 top anglers unable to catch a single fish. With so many blanks, those teams whose anglers scored less than the maximum will be delighted. Sector 4, Vetnet. English star Scott Nellings took only 3 minutes to land a fish to quell his nerves. His celebrations show how relieved he was. He then spent a nervous 3 hours waiting to see if that one fish would secure him the sector win that he and England both needed so badly. At 11:57, a second fish came to the net. Few other fish were caught, but amongst those who did catch was Valerio Santiamantini.
Okay, I got a fish after 3 minutes, which was a very good start, and then I got a fish 3 minutes from the end as well, so a bit of luck, but that's what you need in fishing. Caught 2 nice trout, 32 centimeters, 39 centimeters, so yeah, good for me. Some people have been struggling, but I think listening to a few guys, there's fish caught, so better than people think it is, because it's very sunny, so not good conditions, but hopefully this afternoon will be the same.
Well, I don't know about a good one. I blinked twice, so I don't have any hopes to be on the medal stand, but I'm hoping to move up high enough to maybe finish top 25 or so.
You must be delighted with catching a fish on the River of Death.
I was delighted this morning, yeah. I got one of the 4 fish that were caught on the Vippling-Dalselva this morning, so I feel very lucky to have gotten one.
Any particular reason for you catching a fish? Was it the draw or the way you fished?
Probably more draw. I was drawing a very good beat, so I was blessed with that, and maybe a little bit of dumb luck played in, dumb fish. Even a blind squirrel finds a net every once in a while.
Sector 5, Svartvatnet. The fishing has deteriorated as the competition progressed. Flat conditions and bright blue skies would not improve prospects. Norwegian angler Erlend Vivelid Nielsen knew the difficulty that this sector would present, so he began his preparations well back from the water's edge, intending to fish every inch and avoid scaring small fish that might be hiding under the edge of the bank. He began fishing from a position of concealment in the trees and covered every inch of the water, following the old saying, "Never put your feet where your fly has not already been." Despite these precautions, like so many others, he remained fishless. French angler Julian De La Nias was another who suffered in the sunshine. In the top 5 at the start of the day, he needed just a single poisson to keep up his quest for a medal. With 2 rods set up, he changed leaders and flies repeatedly in a vain attempt to fool just one small fish. Suominen of Finland won the lake with just 2 fish. Julian De La Nias of Belgium took a single fish to keep himself in the medal hunt. Session 4 results. Sector 1, Delcor of France. Sector 2, Adam of the Czech Republic. Sector 3, Pešek of the Czech Republic. Sector 4, Nellings of England. And Sector 5, Suominen of Finland. Session 5. On the Vefsna, Italy's Stefan Di Martini was desperate to avoid a blank. Knowing that the team title was in the balance, he worked tirelessly to find that elusive catch. Just one fish was all that was needed, as today the river was fishing much harder than in the previous sessions, and at least half the field were expected to blank. He finally managed to land one fish of 29.2 centimetres, which when rounded up scored him 700 points, which was enough for 11th place. In the same section, on beat 7, was Thomas Adam of the Czech Republic. If you had to bet your house on an angler catching on this river, you would put it on him. He led the field after 2 sessions with back-to-back sector wins, but then had a poor session on the Fippling-Delselva. In session 4 he recovered with a third first place, and a repeat of this performance in the final 3 hours would guarantee him a medal. Despite this being the most prolific sector and there having been catches in almost every beat, Thomas searched in vain for a fish and left the water at the end of the session with a blank of maximum points. Sector 2. Antonin Pešek of the Czech Republic went head-to-head with Italian Adriano Adravino in this sector. They were drawn on consecutive beats and had a clear view of each other. Pešek scored early on with a small fish and added a second half an hour later, allowing him to relax and enjoy his fishing. Lance Egan of the United States would go on to win the sector, and Bertrand Jacquemin of France was just one place higher than Pešek. If the Italian got a blank, we would be sure that team victory was in our pocket. But then he, the Italian, caught a fish 2 minutes before the very end. Of course, we wish him luck, but now we will have to wait to find out the results from the other sectors to see if we win. Adravino, meanwhile, fished until the very end of the session and caught his only fish with seconds to spare. Sector 4. The larger fish in this lake seem to have switched off. Anglers searched all the corners for the smaller fish that were still feeding occasionally. Chibo of the Czech Republic's second place was good news for his country, with both Italy and France failing to catch. Afterwards, Italy's Luca Papandera summed up. The lake is very beautiful, but it is also very hard. I tried my best, but I like this competition. It has been a hard competition from beginning to end. I only hope that Italy can come in the first three. Belgium's Julian De was another hunting medals. With his team out of the running, only individual glory was possible. Knowing that a single fish would give him at least a bronze medal, he was grateful that 2 fish surrendered themselves. And even though they were both close to the minimum size limit, the combined points was enough to give him third on the lake and bronze medal position. Sector 5, Vetnet. French angler Sebastian Delcor was in the top 10 at the start of the session. His fate was out of his hands, and all he could do was win the sector and hope that others fared badly. Wading out into the lake, he contacted 3 fish. The largest of these was this 38-centimetre trout. His normal calm exterior slipped just for a second after the fish was safely in the net. He had done enough to win the sector. Sadly for Delcor, also on the lake for this session, was one of the most consistent anglers, the Czech Martin Drosch. Martin was one of the anglers who had not yet had a blank, and he didn't disappoint again, catching a single fish at 28 centimetres to capture 3rd place overall and the silver medal. And so to Fippling del Selva, the River of Death. As the competition comes to a close, there are just 5 anglers yet to record a blank. If any one of them is the only angler to catch in this session, they will win the title of world champion. 3 of them are on this section, as are 6 of the top 10 individuals. This is the river which so far has only produced fish for 21 out of 100 anglers. There are just 3 consistent beats, so the luck of the draw may well decide who gets the gold medal. Valerio Santiamantini was the silver medalist last year. At the age of 50, he is one of the oldest Italian competitors. However, with age comes experience and the ability to make the best of any situation. Drawing one of the favoured beats, Valerio set about dissecting the water and exhausting all possibilities in each likely lie before moving on to the next. Midway through the 3 hours, a succession of fish came to his net. His delight was evident and the gold medal was in his grasp. There were only 2 other anglers who caught in this beat. Neither of them were serious medal prospects. Neither the Czech nor the French angler on this river caught, giving Italy hopes of a team medal too. Session 5 results. Sector 1, Nemchik of Slovakia. Sector 2, Egan of the USA. Sector 3, Santiamantini of Italy. Sector 4, Pereira of Portugal. Sector 5, Delcor of France. The final individual result. The gold medal winner is 50-year-old Valerio Santiamantini of Italy. The silver medal goes to Martin Drosch of the Czech Republic, and the bronze medal to Julian De La of Belgium. In the team event, the winners by 52 points after a series of fantastic individual performances were the Czech Republic. In second place were Italy, and in third place France.
Number 2.
On Friday night at the event centre immersion, the presentation was made to the top individuals and the top teams.
Martin Drosch, Czech Republic. Number 1 and world champion 2013. Valerio Santiamantini, Italy. Take this stand from photos.
For sure, it was good interpretation of the beats, and of course there was a lot of luck during the draw. That was behind my success.
I don't know. It's maybe because we have a lot of competition in the Czech Republic and a lot of competitors. So all the competition you must work about on your result. So maybe that's it.
In second place, in team number 2, Italy. And the winner and world champion 2013 is team number 1, Czech Republic.
We came to Norway to fight for a place on the podium, but we didn't expect that the battle would be so hard. There was extremely low water, and what was not obvious to us before, the fish were so wild, they behaved very unexpectedly. Thankfully our guys managed to change their tactics, so the team result was as we had hoped.
V těch vodách a tady nás to trošičku překvapilo, ale poradili si s tím naši kluci a myslím si, že to dopadlo podle ne že naplánovaných, ale tak nějak podle předpokladů, jak se vyvíjel závod.
The World Fly Fishing Championship of 2013 is now over. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you next time.